All right, welcome. I hope my voice is heard much better this time than it was in the last one. So we are waiting for a couple of players to join on the both sides, and then we'll get right into it. So what do we have tonight? Tonight we have a pretty interesting Division 9 game. We will be seeing ITHL, Italian team, going against SCC. As you can see on the standings, SCC is on the first place, undefeated, while ITHL and Zulu Squad are in second and third, both with 4 wins and 1 loss. The game is going to be played on Driel. The map that you actually don't see too often in like the pub servers rotation, which I don't know why, because I kind of like it. It usually provides an interesting kind of flow for the game, and performs well compared to some of the desert matches. So yeah, let me check in with the teams as far as how long we are going to be waiting for, and then I'll be back with you pretty soon. Okay, while I was speaking, we actually flipped, so the game is starting. As you can see, we are already here. Let me create an infantry unit and get into the admin camp for you. So yeah, in this case, in Division 9, it's less players overall on the field. Okay, admin camera, yes. So they play 30v30, which is again means less players on the field, smaller, lesser density of the players across the map, which I've heard opens up for some interesting plays. Like flanks and airheads work a bit differently when you have less players on the map, but again, we'll see. It's my first time casting 30v30. So we are going to be watching the game from the POV of the Axis, which are ITHL. And the midpoint today is Brick Factory. It's an interesting one. It favors allies a little bit more because obviously they don't have to cross the river over here. And this river runs from, horizontally crossing the map left, right. And basically, compared to, I don't know, let's say Remagen, I think it's the only other map with the river in the middle, right? You can cross it in multiple places. So there is a crossing in front of Brick Factory. There is a crossing on the main bridge, of course, where we usually see some armor and infantry action. And you can also cross it on trucks or by foot over there on the far eastern side of the map. Yep. I'll just quickly check that, yeah, all the voice chats are on zeros. Well, so you can see that the teams are pulling up already to the wall. On the Axis side, we see one recon tank going to the east, while most of the players are looking to, I guess, push through this crossing and try to get some control of the brick factory. Maybe not, we'll see. But again, the game is about to start. And let's enjoy a little bit of peace and quiet while while the teams are approaching the midpoint. Okay, I need to fix the scoreboard. Okay, as you can see, ITHL trucks are rushing across the river over here. Looks like they are already taking fire. One of the trucks went under the bridge over there. And at the same time, SCC on the Allies side already taking control of the brick factory. You can see trucks blowing up from the armor shots from the bridge direction. We have just a couple of ITHL guys here, 1 LP. Let's see. Hugging this brick wall, knowing pretty well that across the wall there's probably a lot of ICC players waiting. Throwing nades, smoke, and explosive towards the gate. Yeah, this brick wall is the only thing that divides them. Rambo probably hears someone on this side. Yep, more ITHL players coming to the edge of this brick wall, while the rest of the team sets up on this side of the river. Let's see the initial garrison placement. You can see both teams are placing a couple of garrisons on their respective sides. ITHL controlling this side of the river, and also one squad is at the bridge, I think planning to deal with that tank. We can go take a look. Oh, that tank is gone thanks to the USS tank squad. Okay, just give me a second to work on that scoreboard. Okay, clock and the score, updated that. Sorry for that technical delay, guys. We see that a light tank of Mogul snuck behind to work to destroy the garrison in the back. Well, they did enough damage. So what we have at the moment, we have a couple of ITHL guys trying to cross this crossing towards brick factory. Lucky, the Ori, he's on this side already, laying down, taking fire basically from the south. And we also see the USS P4 also crossing the river, splashing the factory. Splashing the factory, but yeah, not much of infantry support for them over here, because I think everyone who was trying to cross and now pushed back, and the tank is retrieving also. We have recon squad working their way over there towards the HQ. They cannot take down the RT as far as I know, but scanning the backline, and we have one OP and a garrison for SCC already established on the eastern side of the bridgeway. And yeah, that infantry is marked by the defensive players of ITHL. They are here cozy on the bridge, looking into the distance, building rep stations, and yeah, probably waiting for SCC infantry to start pushing across the bridge. We have a couple of guys here. Recon squad is approaching one of the backline garrisons, and yeah, SCC players are starting to pour into this eastern garrison. You can see that Harvey with his squad probably moving slowly towards the bridgeway, establishing an OP. Chad here heard the shot for sure. He knows Harvey is somewhere over there, trying to maybe spot them. So the drill has these dense hedges, dense vegetation, a lot of bushes. Chad unfortunately take a shot from Qonzer. Harvey is running past Ironhide. And we also see some more SCC armor on this side, driving south of the bridge towards the bridgeway. But yeah, so far not an immediate threat for any of the garrisons, I think, on the map. But maybe for that supply truck in the field. Yep. Supply truck goes down. SCC guys, I think, found the garrison in G2, the backline garrison. Pushing it. Johnny here is trying to catch up with the tank, but I think it's a bit too fast for him. Yeah, the satchel goes off on the backline garrison, and at the same time I see that SCC has pushed. Oh no, they haven't. They had some people on the bridge, but I think that who we have here, Shock, is holding them off with his squad, making sure that no one crosses here. Okay. Recon plane goes up, and we see that recon squad who are working on destroying that backline garrison they're already here on the northern side of the bridgeway. Felix positioned in one of the carts, moving slowly towards the defensive point, I think with his goal of knowing where the garrison is going to be for ITHL here. While we also have CQ Shooter, I think I mispronounced his gamer tag previously, pushed all the way to the bridge too, sitting in the bush looking around. Again, working on, I guess, trying to destroy any of the infrastructure they might have, but now probably they've seen they lost an OP that they had there previously, and he's running back to help his infantry because Chad with his squad is pushing to try and find that spawn point. Look, taking fire from Hectic's shot. Patching up. So ITHL squad is pushing that garrison. some point they'll be able to hear it, because it's pretty close, a little bit further down the southeast Ironhide. And the guys are looking for that garrison while CQ Shooter is coming behind them, probably trying to save that locked garrison from being dismantled. Takes one. Okay. We'll get back to the guys here in a moment. Let's see what's going on the other sides of the map. We see that ICC with TOPs pushing across the eastern side of the bridge. The garrison is still up, though it's locked by by that squad member. And yeah, both teams are on their sides of the river so far, apart from slight push from SCC with 2 OPs over here. And we also see that some of the ICC guys, SCC, sorry, what am I saying, are crossing the river here in this kind of crossing. Big Bear put here, Kongi and his squad crossing the river. Oregon Gunsmith are the ones to meet them on this side. Big Bear takes one. Gunsmith probably knows that infantry is already here. Kongi masterfully avoids MG bullets and yeah, takes Gunsmith down. So as we can see, SCC 1000 Cross are slowly pushing with 2 squadlets and an MG, trying to take control over this side of the river, taking down 2 players. Legionario. Gunsmith is back from the OP with the Auric, trying to clear this out. We can hear armor shooting also across the river. For armor, it's a good map. You can see quite far. If you find an elevation point, you can see across all the fields. Let's check the map. And Bridgeway is taking some pressure from the SCC. We can see again Harvey and CQ Shooter taking down Dio Astrale, taking down the garrison on point with a rocket. Nagatosto is on the bridge. 1 against 2 against Hectic Shot and CQ Shooter. Yep, meeting Hectic Shot on the stairs. Polemique taking him down, protecting his OP. CQ Shooter is hiding underneath the bridge from the armor shots. And yeah, we see that SCC established an OP here in this small kind of wooden area closer to the bridge. Harvey makes himself known and is taken down by Bibia. This is a bombing run for the ITHL crossing the brick factory. Doesn't seem like it does too much damage. Also some RT smoke is landing here, maybe to, not maybe, but for sure to block the cross the river view for the SCC guys. We see that armor, medium, and something was around the bridge, I think. No. So it's just the medium here for SCC shooting across the river with tank commander with his binoculars, webbed spotting what's going on at the crossing and behind the crossing all the way towards the bridge. Some action in the smoke, but yeah, ITHL so far is not successful in crossing this river towards Brick Factory, but as you can see, they've established a very far eastern garrison over there on the other side of the river, and probably they will try now to push towards the bridge, clear out the bridge, and then get closer to the Brick Factory. Let's see what's happening on the bridge actually, because first of all we have USS pushing in the tank, again with a pretty good view of Brick Factory and the crossing, being able to spot SCC guys who are crossing the river, maybe even being able to spot that armor they have. Now it's behind the Brick Factory, but we can see him stationed here. We can see that a truck, I think, gets blown up by Ironhide, who is now on the bridge, pushing towards traffic cone. Ironhide is scanning the river towards Brick Factory. I saw on the map that there was a garrison here by ITHL, I suppose, which is now taken down, and they are trying to rebuild a traffic cone here. Ironhide right behind them, so close but looking a bit in a different direction. Traffic cone probably is trying to spot the infantry movement and the transport movement here on this side, on the eastern side of the bridgeway, where Bibia with Australia are on the riverbank. Well, traffic cone keeps looking, probably reporting back to other cells, reporting back to, yeah, he's seen, he's taking fire. At the same time, Ironhide crossed the bridge and now pretty confidently is moving on the other side, taking down some infantry. CQ shooter in front of him. Nice, takes down 3 as far as we could have seen. So he is going to be now pushing that garrison. He knows that there's some sort of spawn. Flare is going up. I'm not quite sure if a flare can pick up a player who is under the bridge. I know that it cannot pick up a player who is in the building. Ironhide is meeting a spawn wave. He's still alive. Hiding under the bridge, epic shot takes him down, but yeah, Ironhide should know now where this spawn is, because he literally just saw 3 people appear out of nowhere there on the 1000 side of the bridge. At the same time, while we were looking at a defensive point, SCC took complete control of this compound across from Brick Factory on the other side of the river, pushed, as I can see, both with the armor and infantry, Webbet, Tige, and others. Kongi squad are now, nice MG work there from Trophy. But yeah, they're now pretty confidently pushing towards the bridgeway with a big wave. This armor is taking down The spawn wave appearing on the garrison is destroyed, and yeah, together with the armor, SCC is gonna be now pushing this side of the river all the way to Bridgeway. ITHL is calling RT on that compound, but I think, you know, a wider thing to do would be to call RT a bit closer to Bridgeway. ITHL armor taking shots in the back. They're backing up, not turning around for some reason. Maybe they still think they're taking shots from the other side of the river. Finally, USS makes a turn, but it's a bit too late for them. That medium is down. There is a bombing run coming its way. That's a heavy there in the distance, I think, putting already 2 shots in the back of SCC's armor. Let's see if they can finish them off. Yeah, they keep landing side shots, bombing run. Cleared a bit of the Bridgeway. Bridgeway is starting to go to the SCC way. You can see the armor is destroyed over there. But yeah. So looking at the map, what we can see is that SCC now established a garrison on this side. A couple of SLs are moving through the east, right by the garrison they have there, and we already have 1, 2, 3 squads on the western side of Bridgeway. So ITHL should start getting control back here on the defense. At the same time, while the Bridgeway is no longer contested, quite a few of them are landed on the other side. Probably I missed an airhead or something, but we can see a big push, counter push, let's call it, from the ITHL on the brick factory. Quite a few of forces on this side of the river, very close to the brick factory, pushing from the map edge. Spawn wave comes on the garrison there in the corner, garrison or OP. It's an OP of the defensive squad. Dogs, Italy, Trophy, Chimera, all pushing the brick factory walls right now. Chimera takes 1, takes 2. Dogs, Italy pushing through the wall. Grenades are coming in. Traffic cone, who we saw previously on the bridge, gets downed by a grenade. Chimera probably knows that the OP is here, takes down the OP. They don't have a squad lead to rebuild that. Powerful movie is at the southern gates, pushing through the smoke, goes down to Craigie. In terms of the infrastructure, King Squad OP, Craigie is the only thing they have. Chimera is now blocking that garrison with a couple of guys pushing towards it. There's also a big spawn wave coming in from this garrison in D7. Looks like most of the SCC squad now returned from the Bridgeway here to, you know, figure out how they've started to take so much pressure on the brick factory. Yep, ITHL keeps spawning. There are just 2 Ps on this side. There are 50 supplies down. If they do a double drop, they can get a garrison up, but they are now facing pretty strong resistance from SCC infantry. Lucky takes down traffic cone, goes down to CQ shooter. Franco is outnumbered here. And yeah, looks like SCC forces are gonna try to clear out whatever presence ITHL had here. At the same time, just 3 ITHL guys are applying pressure to the brick factory. Docs Italy and his squad. Docs Italy, I don't see his OP, probably got wiped. Heavy for the ITHL is pushing into the brick factory, but Tej, does he have a satchel? Probably not, but Hectic Shot does. Hectic Shot goes down. The Heavy positioning itself here on the northwestern side of the brick factory, though he is pretty exposed. Legionario is supporting him from the back, placing an OP that Heavy might use as a kind of radar, signaling that the infantry is nearby. So yeah, as I said, 30v30 games give an interesting dynamic. If one team commits to a push that can be contained, then the counter push might be pretty effective. And as you can see now, almost everything, all that like heavy push that SCC had on the other side of the river, they don't have anymore. Okay, ITHL Heavy just destroyed SCC's armor below us, which I missed exploring the map with you, but nevertheless, this tank is now getting pushed by 4 SCC players. 2 of them are AT, one of them might be a satchel class. But Ghost know that there are players literally all around him and that he's getting satcheled at this very moment. He's moving slowly. Rambo and Soge are trying to jump on it. Okay, I think the spotter just told them. They both go down to the Legionarios MP40. And again, we can see that ATHL, together with the armor, are applying pressure to Brick Factory, establishing with a couple of OPs here on the northwestern side. And there's also an airhead protected by Ironhide there, approached by the Easy Squad from the ICC. Yep, I think the airhead is gonna be live, though it's warm. Let's keep following ITHL here. So Legionary and his guys are protecting the heavy, while I guess CQ Shooter came back as an assault class, trying to sneak up to that heavy. He goes down, trades with Legionario, the OP is still up. We see that ITHL now has a garrison here on this side, and they are starting to push heavily towards the brick factory. Garrison is still protected by shock. Uris running forward, shock right in front of him. Uris nading, I guess, the garrison there inside the barn. Shock is here. I think he takes a bit of damage from that grenade, but he's waiting to stop anyone from destroying that garrison. Takes down Triple H. Uris is inside. Takes him down. Airhead goes down. Uris will take the garrison with him, and that's how SCC pretty much dismantled the infrastructure ITHL managed to build in this little compound. But still, you can see ITHL has some OPs from that garrison towards Brick Factory. ITHL with the heavy armor is still controlling this northwestern side of Brick Factory. hugging the walls, pouring in slowly. SCC at the same time, they still have a garrison over there. They have both heavy and a light tank pulling in, and they are also flooding the brick factory from the southern side. Fighting goes on inside the brick factory building. Powerful move, and Lucky having some elevation, looking through the windows, trying to spot the guys running in, taking them out one by one. Light tank from SCC is now inside the brick factory. What do we have here? Legionario is still doing a good job with his guys protecting this heavy. And yeah, the cap weight is now back to 0 for ITHL. They still have a bit of ground. They are holding this side. They have a double drop of supplies that get immediately destroyed by an RT shot. And we will see now, I think, two heavies meeting on this side of brick factory. They are right around the corner from each other. SCC heavy is pushing. ITHL should be waiting for them. Oh no. ITHL heavy gets stuck on a tree and takes the first shot because of that. They are exchanging shots. Unfortunately, Ghost is also taking shots from the back from the AT, and he goes down. I think that's gonna be it for this corner that ITHL held pretty well for quite some time. We see the second heavy pulling up on the other side of the bridge, probably now having on the other side of the river, sorry, now having the information that their heavy is over there, right across outside of brick factory. At some point they will be able to spot him. So yeah, now ITHL heavy is shooting across the river towards brick factory, and yeah, there was quite an intense push from ITHL side, and you can see that all the ITHL managed to build during that push is now wiped out, because SCC done a well job going back and defend with almost all the forces they had, but at the same time all the pressure they had on Bridgeway is now gone. So let's go back on the defense and see what's going on over there, because SCC, they have a garrison here, they have a couple of OPs close to Bridgeway, though it doesn't seem like they have a lot of infantry now pushing it. They are still all in the back, resetting, clearing out whatever might, be left to clear out. Only Harvey here, looking at the Bridgeway, way outnumbered by the ITHL defensive players, though he manages to take a good shot. I think it's him. Who else could it be? We can see that commander for ITHL, David Napoli, David takes the OP out, and checking out this side of the river for any other spawn points. He's pretty close to Dog Squad OP. He's moving his way to the garrison that SCC has on their side. And yeah, was an intense push. Now both teams, well, I can see that ITHL managed to keep some of the presence there. We can see two OPs are going back up. And again, brick factory. I think that Legionario took a truck and crossed the river to immediately get back to the brick factory wall. The Auric is here, also putting his OP up, and again, you can see that ITHL guys are pushing into the brick factory, taking this time the northeastern side, not eastern corner of it. And yeah, I think hats off to ITHL guys. They managed to re-establish their presence on the midpoint pretty fast. 2 squad leads holding now the buildings. Lucky and powerful move still inside the windows. Okay, it's only the powerful move. Looking at the entrance gates, looking at the side gates, trying to spot any infantry coming into the point. And again, we can see that as soon as the pressure starts to build up, SCC drops the reinforce, drops the subs, and yeah, calls their forces back in, because midpoint is the most important point. You can see that some of the SCC forces are even crossing the river by foot, trying to chase the ghost. Ghost is coming back to the point where now in the medium, where he was blown up by SCC's heavy. Where did the heavies go, by the way? I missed that totally. Ghost takes fire from the side, tries to back up and find some cover, but this is coming all the way from the bridge. Yep. And with a good shot, squad of Aussie takes this medium down. Legionario, Gunsmith, Lucky and Ironhide are still holding on to that corner, fighting with the infantry waves. Let me give you a broader view of the point. A bombing run, I guess, for the SCC goes on the northern side of the point. Wipes out Legionario, wipes out one of their own players. The Lux is pushing in across the river. AT guy is quite close to them. Lux pushing right into the brick factory, taking a shot. And look at this spawn wave. Auric and a full squad of 5. Rombo must now know that there's an OP in this corner. Auric here tries to protect the OP. OP goes down. He goes down to a grenade. Unfortunately, RJ shot takes down a couple of SCC players. And yeah, apart from the Lux in the middle of the point, I don't think that ITHL has any spawn points left. The Lux goes down to the armor, or AT armor pushes. Wobbit pushes inside the point. Ironhide unfortunately couldn't approach him with the satchel, and at the same time, the bridgeway starting to take some pressure. Now it's defended now. Starting to take some pressure, but it doesn't seem like, apart from Baker, who is Felix, the recon squad, there's much else going on here. Am I right? I think I am. Still a garrison for SCC, still an outpost on this side of the river. And I think that ITHL is using their far eastern garrison pretty well, and maybe the garrison on the bridge that they have, because they keep, as soon as the pressure gets taken out by SCC on the northern side of Brick Factory, something comes up from the back, from the east. So yeah, not much to see on the bridgeway. Let's go back to the midpoint, where we can now see that the last squad lead for ITHL just went down. We can see the SCC armor positioned there in the gates, looking again across the river towards the bridge. And yes, this is going to be the end of this push for ITHL. Some fighting going on around the bridge, but both teams will now need a bit of time to think about their next move. Maybe reset a little bit. Okay, I hope my stream is working. Forgot to check if it's live. Yeah, looks like it's live. Okay, we can see that, yes, it's Felix pushing into the defensive point, trying to get some info. Pungi at the same time is pushing towards the bridge garrison. We can see some of the presence for SCC on this side. David is gonna destroy that garrison that, oh no, it's there, yeah, taking down the SCC garrison, I think. Let me see where the action is happening. Yeah, you can see that ITHL has pushed from their eastern garrison towards the bridge. And as I said, they're trying to, again, push towards the brick factory, trying to wipe out anything they meet in their way. Who do we have here? The familiar forces of Dox and Chimera. Chimera takes down one and runs into Mogold, who was sitting in the bush, listening to his footsteps, waiting for him to come, and he's now taking fire from the other ITHL guys, pushing towards the railway here. Two squad leads, Dox and what do we got here? Dox and Orich, I don't know, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that gamer tag. Pushing Mogul, pushing the couple of OPs that SCC have established here. I think ITHL in general does a pretty good job of controlling the bridge so far. But at the same time now, Dog Squad from SCC here on this side pushing towards the bridgeway. Heavily outnumbered by ITHL defensive forces. Easy, Big Bear moving their way under the bridge towards the bridgeway strong point. Big Bear goes down, trades I guess with one of the ITHL squad leads. Easy makes his way under the bridge. We can see one of the AT guys for SCC running through one of the many canals that this map has. And bridgeway is starting to go towards SCC. Can't say they have a lot of presence, but on the other hand, they have one squad lead pushing from the river. We have Felix, I guess, still here under the bridge from the north, and we have Hectic Shot and Harvey pushing the defensive forces. So let's see. ITHL gets a spawn back. Geo Australia on defense with Chad Shock and Polemique, not sure. Taking the control back, defending now the bridgeway, looking for where did that push might have come from. The sounds of metal on this bridge are pretty nicely done. In general, I think Hell Let Loose has quite an amazing sound effects work for immersion. So yeah, seems like ITHL is clearing out that push, taking back control of the hard cap. Who do we have here? We see that on the bridge, Polemike and his... Oh, just Polemike is about to be pushed by Kongi from the north. Will he hear them approaching him? They're on the bridge. Polemike is looking the other way for now. Kongi runs past him. Nagarosto takes down... Not sure if he took down both of them or just one, but yeah, anyways. Polemike spotted enemy infantry running on the other side of the bridge, and he's now under control here, seems like. Looking north, trying to spot if anyone else is approaching him from far away. And the enemy armor is marked on the other side of the bridge. And we have... What do we have there? We have a heavy positioned there, but looking now towards the brick factory, probably because there's a recon of USS running around brick factory at the moment. And we have also a heavy of Jovak on that side. Okay, sorry for sloppy camera work. I see also an airhead falling right on top of Johnny. Yeah, I think he saw the blueprint way in advance. Now he's gonna take it down successfully. At the same time, from the north, SCC is now pushing the defensive squads. Mogolt is on the bridge with his guys. They have the elevation. Electric shot takes down Ironhide. More ITHL guys going down, and it looks like with a very successful push from the top, suddenly SCC, in a matter of minutes, while maybe everybody was focused on that airhead, in the matter of minutes they have full control of the bridge. ITHL forces, Johnny, Nagarosto and the guys are trying to get back, though they are under the bridge at the moment. Shock is in the bush, looking around, trying to see what's going on. Hectic shot right above him. You can see in the background that ITHL gets a spawn wave. The point is now being defended. Supplies are dropping on the bridge. Hectic shot is gonna be... He's gonna be scavenging this tank carcass. You know, it's... Since this came as an update, it's pretty rare to see someone actually do that, to be honest. I don't know. And yeah, we just saw that new mechanic working in favor of Hectic, who is getting some fuel back to his team. At the same time, ITHL is taking the control back. Hectic shot going down to Johnny. Chad there clearing out the northern side. So what led to this is actually a garrison that SCC managed to build pretty close to Bridgeway from the north, and that garrison is still active right to the left here somewhere, because we can still see people spawning. But I think that this squad of Bibia and Zio Astrale will try to figure out where the spawn waves are coming from and clear out both the OP and the garrison. Chad here takes down Uris, but he didn't find that outpost yet and goes down to SCC forces. Zio Astrale as a support player gets taken down by Hectic Shot, and the garrison is somewhere right underneath us. I could hear it whistling a bit when ITHL guys were still here. So let's see if SCC can develop this into something, into taking maybe the bridgeway. But we can also see the brick factory, where we haven't been for quite a bit, is now flickering in favor of ITHL. What do they have here? We have a heavy positioned right in front of the garrison of SCC, and I guess not seeing that the garrison is right there. Shooting that supply truck in the distance. Not sure if they managed to take it down. I don't know if this is intentional of them, just because this garrison is not even locked, it's just in front of them. Still, I guess, fully functional, sits in the blue. But anyways, yeah, they can't see it at the moment. And ITHL on the offensive point, we see quite a few of dead bodies for ITHL. What do they have? They have the single OP right here getting pushed by Craigie. Spawn wave right in front of him. Flamethrower going in all the directions, trying to clear all the vegetation around them. Legionario stays alive, takes down Craigie, was it? And yeah, now his guys are pushing Brick Factory again. They seem to know where the garrison is. Legionario doing a smart thing, laying down in the bush, waiting to rebuild that OP. OP goes back up again. Big Wing takes down the support player. Lucky goes down to either armor or infantry. Was he trying to place a satchel? I am not sure, but the garrison... Oh yes, the satchel is up. A great move from Lucky. Satchel goes off, destroying the garrison for SSC on the point. At the same time, Auric squad is pushing in from the east, close to the second closest defensive garrison that SCC has here. Lucky and Legionario already in the strong cap. Gunsmith here. Probably looking for that garrison, but they managed to clear it. Triple H probably protecting the garrison from any ITHL forces. SCC commander rushing back, trying to figure out what's going on. Chimera here in the bushes. Here's Lucky Nikki. Yeah. Powerful move finds him in the meantime. And ITHL is all around the brick factory. Legionario goes down to a satchel, but that satchel was taking down SCC armor, so I think it's a good trade. ITHL heavy again. Is it Ghost? Yes, Ghost again on the western side of brick factory. And for a moment here, it looks like ITHL has a full control. Is it Gory? No, it's Gunsmiths there taking down the defensive garrison, the closest one they had to the brick factory. Recon plane is coming over. Who is it? Renga is trying to save that garrison, but it's a bit too late. One-on-one the Gunsmith. Gunsmith did his job, so. And yeah, point is 80% in favor of ITHL. Their pushes, led by Legionario, and I think Orek finally could come to fruition, but I think there's a spawn wave. Oh yes, a lot of SCC folks are now coming into the cupway through the fields there, spawning off that garrison that went up in E7 and pushing from the garrison in C7. Again, with all the forces trying to stop ITHL from succeeding. Oof. Armor goes down for ITHL. That heavy is no longer in the point, and you know, removing that tank from the cup weight is a lot of, sorry for repeating myself, but cup weight for ITHL. Support player with the gamer tag I still can't pronounce, heavily working with the flamethrower, trying to clear out the gates, but again heavily outnumbered. Legionario still inside the brick factory building, but this doesn't look good. It seems like all the power that ITHL had just a couple minutes ago unfortunately was overrun by SCC forces. You can see how many of them came back. We can see a supply truck over there coming in for SCC, and we also can see that the airhead is dropping on the brick factory for ITHL, I guess, right in the middle of the point, which by the way is not a bad thing, because there is a chance it can be missed since it's dropping right on the heads of the players. Bigotters just runs past the blueprint, and the airhead lands in front of bigotters. I said big debtors. Sorry mate for again mispronouncing your... Is it a defensive? Oh, it's a defensive airhead. I get it now. Yeah, it's a defensive airhead for SCC that gets taken down. ITHL doing another big push, but at the same time Bridgeway. Let's quickly check what's going on over there. The garrison north of Bridgeway is still up, so to my surprise the defensive squads didn't find that. And you can see that SCC, while the pressure was cleared on the brick factory, they are now heavily pouring, I'd say flooding from the north into the Bridgeway. And I think that's the thing I'm figuring out about the 30v30 games, that, you know, one push goes after another push and then another push, but this honestly doesn't look good for ITHL at the moment. Ghost is rushing into the defensive point in the tank, taking fire from the back. Supplies are falling down already on the Bridgeway for ITHL. And they're going to be taking out Nagarosto, Axis, and Pisciano are trying to regain control of their hard cap from the south. Harvey and Mogold are against them. Tej is pushing his way all the way to the tank. the tank, which struggles a bit to stay level on this rocky terrain of the bridge. Siege goes down. Axios, Johnny, and Zio Astrale pushing back into the point. Shock is right on the enemy supplies. Rocket goes into Ghost armor. First miss, second shot in. Ghost is turning his turret back towards the north. This push from SCC is far from being cleared. Some action goes on top of the bridge, some action under the bridge. Nagatosto takes down Hectic Shot. Siki Shooter is trying to push towards that tank. Was that a peace strike? Don't think so. Chimera takes down the AT. That armor giving a huge help here for ITHL, trying to clear that. North of Bridgeway, flare goes up for SCC, and they now might know that ITHL is back in control, but again, ITHL needs to find that garrison, which I think has been there for the last, how many, 15 minutes maybe? And, you know, stop this from happening. Okay, Fox Squad dropped the garrison mark first, which was correct, but then switched it to the outpost mark unknowingly, I think. Yep, ITHL doing a good job on defense. Char on the top side of the bridge. Lameke at the bottom defending the newly built garrison. Pesciano, sorry mate, pushing towards Uris and CQ Shooter. So yeah, one of the things I like about the drill also is that this bridge is always this this vertical fighting a bit. So, you know, some action on top, some action on the bottom. You can build garrison and OPs both on it and below it, and it actually stretches all the way into the terrain. So unlike, again, the Remagen bridge, which just has the towers at the most of the bridge is above the water, here a lot of the vertical play goes on like above the land too, and you know, sometimes it creates some interesting plays. So yeah, SCC garrison is still up. I'm sure that Olamike with his guys is trying to figure out where the push is coming from. Mogul returns to keep pushing. We see Hectic Shot and Big Bear taking down Zio Astrale, goes down to CQ Shooter. CQ Shooter gets taken out by Jizmi. Chad there underneath the bridge still. Olamike is trying to watch out for this garrison and for his outpost, pushing northwest since he knows that there is where the push is coming from. Over Italia, nice. Pushing onto the bridge. Here's Easy, looking for him. And Easy shoots him in the legs, I guess, through underneath the cart. Jizmi, Johnny, see Easy on the ladder, I guess. He is trying to get as many cover as he can. Sitting on the stairs, watching into the bridge. So that garrison is now locked out, but Charlie Squad for SCC still have an OP on this side. And also you can see that on the bridge itself, there's now a presence of some of the SCC infantry. ITHL also has this garrison underneath the bridge, which helped them previously, I think, to hold back the push. But now Big Bear shock takes Rambo down. Big Bear looks back. Yeah, Shocks try to clear the bridge. There's also a Lux icon here. And another tank, which is, I think, heavy maybe for the ITHL. Trying to shoot here into the bridge where we see not medic in his armor, heavy armor. Sorry, not very familiar with British armor. Holding the bridge, looking towards bridgeway, looking to the left and right, trying to spot enemy armor on the both sides of the bridge. Let me look at the map. We see that Legionario still trying to push across the river, and we'll try to see if him and Dox's attempts to create another push for ITHL will be successful, but at this time we can see that SCC is pushing across the bridge. The garrison for ITHL is gone. Cody, Ironhide, and what's that gamer tag? 3RN, 3STO. Not sure, but yeah, they're trying to hold back the SCC push. And they are outnumbered at the moment. They also have infantry approaching them from the west. Ironhide is the only one actually on top of the bridge against 3 players. Ironhide takes one. Big Bear is close to him on the other side of that card. Big Bear is going to be placing a proxy satchel, I guess. Ironhide shoots towards the armor on the other side of the bridge. Ironhide takes Big Bear down through the gap in that broken down train cart, which is cool. At the same time, Harvey is underneath the bridge, pushing under the Ironhide. Okay, that garrison is still up, and finally I think David, after I don't know how long, more than 20 minutes, I guess, is approaching that garrison from the north, hears it in the bush, and finally takes it down. So this should be a bit easier for them now. At the same time, there's an airhead which landed right on the bridge. Polemica is on it, taking it down. So yeah, what we can see is Felix is still here on the northern side of the bridge, where he's been every time I looked in this direction, providing intel to his team, while ITHL defense, Tio, Johnny, Nagarosto, Chad and others are trying to contain the push. Bibia is really close to the outpost here. Tactic shot is behind him. Misses his shot. Bibia takes him down and takes down the OP. So pretty much every spawn that SCC had, but SCC has built another garrison here on this side of the bridge, and their armor is pushed all the way to the ITHL side south of Bridgeway, now positioned here on the bridge with the support from Big Bear and others. Looks like the SCC are determined not to, you know, to keep applying pressure and not let ITHL push the point. But talking about that, let's go back to the point, because it looks like that Lucky Chimera Dogs, Axios, and others attacking squads from ITHL are trying to develop their push into the point, this time fully from the eastern side, not from the crossing. And to be frank, they have not so much time left. They have basically 14 minutes to get this midpoint, and after that the game is going to be lost. So they are trying to apply pressure, trying to establish something, and you can see that quite a few of ITHL guys are pushing into the brick factory from the east, though even all of them in the cap weight is not enough yet to start capping, while Bridgeway is under heavy pressure from that southern garrison that ITHL built. We gave a lot of love for defense now, so for a bit let's just stick with the attacking squads. Bombing run comes in for ITHL, which maybe takes down a garrison. Ooh, misses a spawn wave by a couple of seconds. So while ITHL is pushing from the east, they get pushed back. Yeah, I think they're going back to the Bridgeway, because almost halfway, the cap was almost halfway down. Sorry, after talking for an hour plus, I'm getting a little bit sloppy with the words. We see Rumbo and Big Bear still pushing from the north, Felix pushing into the hard cap from the south. They are the only people on the bridge. At the same time, we have Delevich, Chad, Nagatosto, and others defending from the bottom. Infantry on the bridge is supported by armor on the SCC side, and the armor is now slowly rolling towards the hard cap. Again, trying to be level on that rocky bridge. Konge is underneath, pushing the garrison with easy. USS, who I think I've seen in a tank previously, though I'm not sure, is now sniping for ITHL, goes down. Bobber and Zio and Johnny are underneath the bridge trying to push back, though with a heavy present right in the hard cap. It might be a little bit tricky. Not medic on the bridge. Yeah, mowing down any ITHL forces that try to come up here. Protected by Rumbo and Hectic Shot. And they are starting to take the Bridgeway. This bunch of OPs that ITHL had close to Brick Factory unfortunately is no longer there. I see that Love Squad, Traffic Cone is pushing that garrison, the attacking garrison that they had. Okay, powerful move. Nagatosto, Franco, they're all spawning underneath the bridge, probably trying to push behind that tank and upwards to get in the back of the armor and, you know, satchel or rocket it. USS comebacks as an AT, we just saw him sniping. Polemica and Bibia, Nagatosto, Chad. So yeah, the classic ITHL defense squads in the hard cap. I'm sorry, smoking that armor, going all the way underneath towards the river. Tactic shots takes down USS. Nagatosto does a successful run through the smoke, but Hectic Shot hurt him or spotted him and doesn't let him put the flare on. So from the armor perspective, it's always good to see that armor being closely protected by infantry. we can see that this garrison and this OP again providing spawn points for SCC to start applying more and more pressure on the bridge. CQ shooter takes down 2. Polemikin knows that someone is down there. He's looking down the stairs, but CQ is already all the way up to the garrison. Of course, he goes down to this big spawnway, but he's gonna tell now everyone else that the garrison is underneath the bridge on the northern side of Bridgeway. SCC armor is doing something I did not expect them to do. They are now underneath the... This is an interesting move from not medic. Front flip from the bridge right into the Lucky's arm, who places a satchel. One of the most interesting armor plays I've seen. I don't know if it's like this for them, but they are... Wow, they've just done a backflip again. Franco takes down 1. They're trying to defuse that satchel. Not medic is the only one left from the tank crew working on that satchel, and he refuses this at the last moment, though this tank is now empty. So that backflip down front flip didn't go well for them, unfortunately. They're now taking fire from the heavy all the way back there, I think. And yeah, since no one is there, they will gonna be destroyed pretty fast, unless the tank crews will go from this garrison towards their lost tank. Now it gets destroyed. Yep, ITHL, I think most of the team apart from the attacking squads went back, pushing towards south. They now know, judging by that mark, that the garrison is there. They are clearing the push from SCC. 9 minutes left to go. And so far, I saw ITHL doing great things on defense. Pretty solid, spawning back, you know, figuring out where the push is coming from, winning their gunfights, destroying the armor. But at the same time, unfortunately, their pushes, and again, this is not surprising since Brick Factory is a very hard point for access to push, since, you know, you have to make your way across the river, and we've seen that the infrastructure ITHL had on the other side in that compound got wiped again and again. Heavy now pushing towards the Brick Factory. I think that ITHL should have some sort of a plan for the last basically 5-6 minutes before the game is lost, but again, since they are taking pressure again and again on the bridgeway from the garrisons, from the OPs, from SCC, it's kind of hard to dedicate a lot of forces to the push without losing their 4th point. So what do we have on the attack for the last minutes? Let's scan the southern side of the bridge. Quite a few of ITHL guys trying to do this last push together. We can see Bobber in the recon squad. Ahead of him, Docs with his guys, and Lord Trizio trying to push further west. We can see that closest one to Brick Factory now is USS, who is now a squad lead, Legionario. USS, I guess, is the most versatile player. We've seen him snipe, we've seen him tank, we've seen him SL. So Legionario here in front of Charlotte, and he places an OP in this field, but it's gonna be spicy. Jared takes him down. I don't know if he knows if there is an OP. If he knows, he might spend some time Yeah, he knows. He just told his SL, his spotter, that it's there. And that OP is gonna go down, did it? No, I guess they don't know. They are just running away from it. So Legionario gets a sneaky OP up front, gets a spawn wave that Triple H and the armor unfortunately see, and now that OP is gonna be gone. Unlucky. At the same time, Bridgeway is halfway in SCC's hands, while all the ITHL went to the airhead. Okay, it's defended. Let's go see what's going on with the airhead. I keep missing airheads. My second stream, I don't see anything. There are 2 tanks for SCC right on top of that airhead. A big spawn waves comes in. Big Teters loses his OP. Heavy is looking for their spawn point. Their head is still alive. It's pushing further south. Orange, Dogs, Theo, everybody is trying to take control of this barn first before they push further. At the same time, some of the ITHL guys are pushing in from the east. There are 2 garrisons left for SCC. The cap weight is like 30% in ITHL's hand. Both soft cap and hard cap was under control. There is a garrison right in the middle of the brick factory. Big spawn waves comes in. USS, I think, was unsuccessful in trying to find that. So basically 2.5 minutes left for ITHL to try and get these points before the game is over. SCC bringing more supplies into their hard cap. Chad pushing the point with the guys. Lucky, Dogs, Orich, everybody is here. Yeah. I think SCC can now just take their full team, place it in the hard cap, and it's going to be very hard for ITHL in the last 2 minutes to do anything with that. Hobnob blocks the entrance with the supply truck. Dogs, Italy, Orica trying to push into the point, taking fire, taking arty shells. I think that armor is empty, but SCC still have a heavy pushing also in the hard cap. It's a bombing run from SCC, I think, taking out not as much as I expected. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Taking out pretty much everyone who was pushing from the west here. Counter bombing run comes from David across the brick factory. At the same time, Bridgeway is halfway in the SCC's hands. Okay, bombing run takes out 1, 2, and most importantly takes out this garrison. 40 seconds, and the ITHL starting to cap. They still have OPs there to the west. They are pushing heavily in. The garrison on brick factory is gone. Will they do a miracle? Will they push, flood this hard cap and take the point? It's contested. 15 seconds for them to start capping back. We can see a lot of infantry pushing from that southern garrison from SCC, probably clearing out the airhead and clearing out all of the OPs. Yeah, 2 minutes left. Unfortunately, armor and infantry for SCC provide a good defense, clearing out the ITHL forces, and it's gonna be a GG for both teams. Some of the ITHL guys are coming back to the bridgeway. Probably, again, I'm not sure when SCC started to cap. Maybe they will have. No, they won't have time to cap this too. And this is it for both teams. Very good last push from ITHL. It was a great watch, to be honest, and really unfortunate because they had a few good pushes. First from this side, from the crossing, then with a couple of airheads holding, the northern side of the factory, then holding the eastern side of the map. They did well with that, map control, trying to push from the east into the hard cap. Yeah, we can see that USS, Polemike, and others are still in the hard cap, trying to get their last kills before the game is over. 30 seconds left. At the same time, again, hats off to ITHL because they did not leave any chance for SCC, despite having, garrisons sometime on the south, sometime on the north. They didn't leave them a chance to get their fourth and to push them all the way back. So it was really an interesting game to watch, with pushes coming all around, back and forth. And yeah, hard point to cap for ITHL, and at the same time great defense. Some interesting plays for both teams, and it's gonna be a GG's, and I'm gonna be saying goodbye to you at this stage. Good game, and yeah, see you in the next one.